Gooners. Gooner fam, what's good? You can see we're back here. Match day preview show against Westham. We got our Durban Gooners, Kyle and Raoul. They're here to share with us their views ahead of the Westham game. So yeah, guys, how you feeling? Westham, another London derby at home, our first match at home. That's going to be a good one. How you guys feel up against Westham? What do you think? You know, maybe we'll go with the Raoul.
Well, obviously, I'm excited. After the good news that came through, I think it was yesterday or on Wednesday, Uber signing his contract. You know what? I'm expecting Uber to have a field day against West Ham. I'm expecting at least a proper 3 or 4 goal thriller. That's what I'm hoping for. But definitely, just because of the new presence of the coaches behind the first team, the manager. Bro, I've never been so optimistic in the past 3-4 years going into these games. It's like I can't wait to see these games now. How things on pan out and so on. Yes, so I'm super excited.
Yeah, it's nice being an Arsenal fan these days, huh?
Yeah, it's different because another one thing we spoke about. A lot of us couldn't wait for the season to end last year. Now we actually to watch every single game that comes up. But yeah, from my side, definitely, obviously, a positive, our most important signing of the season. For me, I feel getting Orbit tied down. But another thing, I still think I know me and Raoul, we always debate about this. I still think we're a bit short. In the games coming up, I know we've got like El Nini that plays for us in the midfield, but do you honestly see a midfield of Granit and El Nini that leads us to a title, a huge title this season? Me personally, I don't. But I'm definitely optimistic of coming off the back of our last game, the positivity with the news coming in. A bit heartbroken with the Emmy news as well. To be honest, I know I was always an Emmy guy. I think a lot of us here were. But I feel we're going into optimism. But I think we need to keep this momentum going because we want to have the momentum going into Leicester and to Liverpool as well. I feel a lot of the young boys, Gabriel had a good game. I'm just interested to see the lineup though, because Luis back in training now as well. So who sits out now? Might be a big decision for the manager to make. He's already made a big call with the Emi Martinez, made Leno his number one. So that's Emi gone. And the other thing as well that you want to consider is at some stage, I didn't feel like we spoke about Ainsley but having his greatest game. Does he make him sit out now? Because I feel what happened to Saka, him not getting a game for me, also not another positive coming into this. But I feel going into the game, I'm feeling very confident. But I think I'm always a bit nervous going into any new game with Arsenal. Yes, we had a good game, but I feel I just want to try to get the consistency. I think Arteta has brought a lot of consistency to us. We kind of know what we're going to get. Whereas before previously, Arsenal would be like a Jekyll and Hyde, you know what I mean? So
is your kind of
be a good one.
reluctance due to past Arsenal season? Just being a fan of Arsenal, or is it because I feel like maybe Arteta has added that stability and maybe less worry for us going into games. But I do have that feeling of first games are never our best, and first games at home are never our best of the season. So is it that kind of feeling you're having, like that uneasiness of just knowing it's a new season and you never know what to expect?
Vacation means we're in actually some exciting times. The fact that as Arsenal supporter, you can't even predict what your backline is going to be, how it's going to be. For the past 2-3 years, it used to be something different where your backline used to always be a four in the back formation. You used to always have, it was either Bellerin or Nacho Monreal, and just at that time was Koscielny and whoever was partnering Koscielny at that time was a Saka, so on. Now look at that. We're in a position where we can either play 4, we could play 3. We've got wing backs now. Our formations can change according to the teams. And I think previously, and I'm probably the worst when it comes to always looking in hindsight, looking at history and so on. Even when we had to fall under Arsene Wenger's era, you find out that we used to always we used to play the Arsenal way, and there was no other way. We never used to adapt a game to our position and so on. And fair enough, when Emery came in, Emery started doing that. But yeah, by far, Arteta seems to be a great tactician of changing his formations and so on. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, you're looking at Ainsley. Where's Ainsley going to play? Are we still going to keep Gabriel? Because I think past from their first five or 6 minutes, I technically feel that Gabriel should actually start again. Keep that momentum going. Fair enough, it was only against a championship team, but nonetheless, I mean, he was winning the aerial duels. He's very stable, especially even trying to play the offside when we can. I mean, one would expect there will be a communication error because technically he is he's still learning how to speak English. But I mean, defenders, I mean, I think as a defender, he's going to probably be one of the better players to actually put in the page, our first 11 for sure.
Definitely.
Interesting thing though, you mentioned there though. I don't know if you guys caught. I'm one of the guys that always like check up on Arsenal.com, and I saw Guendouzi back in training. I thought it was very curious that he was very close to like Alba. He's still with that clan, you know, the French gang. And he's all smiles and happy. He doesn't look like he's on his way out. He seems like he's in a positive mood. Definitely, what we're gonna find out from this lineup is who's in his plans and who's not, because we haven't seen Ozil yet, we haven't seen Guendouzi on the bench, and we haven't seen Torreira. Those are a lot of players that are linked with moves away. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with them. And you mentioned as well, I definitely think Gabriel has to start a very solid game, but does Luis start now? Because Luis, obviously, with the Brazilian connection, has a better relationship, but it'll be very unfair as well to let Holding sit out. But there's also been talks about him potentially moving on loan to teams as well. So if he sits him out now, is that potentially signs that we could be losing Rob Holding on a loan deal? Because we have too many centre backs. We know that between Socrates or Holding, one of them have to go out on loan or have to get sold. And Mustafi as well has been very solid as well. I know people are saying maybe it's time he should go, but I think he was one of our better defenders under Arteta, so I don't see a need for him to go right now. And one thing you also mentioned as well there, Raoul, is last thing for me. I think we have a plan going into games now. One thing that I saw, and I don't know what our stats were for the last season, but we won. We scored a goal off a corner, a set piece. We got that new set piece coaching from Brentford. Is that the work behind the scenes that's showing? Because if you look at that, he basically had a free header. He got up. He's, like we said, he's a big boy as well. But that's all training. That's all drills that we've been going through. And for once, I'm excited to go into a game. And I don't know what the starting lineup is going to be, because to be honest, William had a good game. But could Pepe start? Potentially.
Yeah.
He also looked very exciting as well when he came on. El Neni, does he start? Does Ceballos start? Because is it a type of Ceballos game that we need now, or is it El Neni game? Do you know what I mean? So there's just so many questions, and so forth. I have to say Arteta's been answering all those questions, and he's been making the right decisions so far. Honestly,
I think you guys.
Even the strikers, Carl. Look, is Lacazette going to play, or is Eddie going to play? They have their own separate qualities, and so you can see how the way Arteta's trying to set up the games or try and progress Eddie's career in the Arsenal team. He's giving 100%. Him those chances, 100%. So will Lacazette start or will Eddie start? Because we have that option now. I mean, fair enough. I mean, Uber signed his contract. I can tell he's the first person that's actually on the paper first.
He's starting every game, that guy. Unless you don't need it, he's starting every game. Yeah, that's the way.
100%. But guys, no, we can even have a position where the worst case scenario you can play one up front and two behind the striker, and then you can have Uber or William playing in that position as well. So you got right forward, your left forward, you got Pepe can play also as a right wing or the right forward. So there's a lot they can actually go. I mean, if you're looking at the way Westham plays, I mean, I think they're going to play two defensive mids, definitely. I won't be surprised if they're going to try and get us on the break. But if you look at us, guys, I mean, our transition nowadays from our break, we're probably one of the top 3 or top 4 teams that actually can break and look fierce on the break. You know, like there's something going to happen. You know what I mean?
And scoring, like for me, the biggest change was, we defending well. we breaking well, all of that. But it was being more clinical. We have less shots on targets, but more of them are converted into goals, you know. And I feel
100%.
that was where we were lacking. Like, if you look against City, it was like 2 or 3 shots on target and 2 were goals, you know. And for us, I think it's good that we're getting in front of goal. We used to always get in front of goal, but now it is about finishing off. And I think the more shots at goal we have, could it be a bigger like range, you know? We could be a better turnover. We got 4, 5, 6 goals. So I think that's a really big aspect that's improved. Look, along with our defense, off the ball work, everything is improved. But I felt just in front of goal, we weren't clinical enough at certain times. And I think now, like if you look at that Aubameyang, the last goal against Fulham, that for me, that just defines being clinical. You get the ball, you're in the box, net. You know, and it's hard, don't get me wrong, and you know, you will get through those spells. But I think working through this and the confidence that Arteta's brought in, as you guys said, the way we're moving the ball from the back line. Look, also in the back line, Mari is back as well. We spoiled for choice, you know, and it's nice, you know. And then, as you said, is it Al Neni game?
Is he back?
Yeah, he's back.
I think it will be under
I don't
light
know if he's
training.
back like 100%. Like,
not full fitness, but he's
back
back in like light training.
But if I can add to what Kishan's saying, I think another thing is we learned how to soak more pressure and actually play from the back. I mean, if you look at where the goals are actually coming, it starts from the back now. I mean, we do play a better wing back. We do play better passes. I mean, sometimes there's actually the option of our 2 centre backs. While when Luis is playing, that they don't want the opposition won't press as hard because they know there's going to be probably a ball that's going to go the route one ball over the defender and so on.
Tyranny has been doing that quite well.
100%.
You know, it's actually crazy though, guys. Like I was actually watching that over goal. If you ever get a chance, just have a look and see how many numbers we push forward. There's 8 attackers that we have going forward. There's 8 attackers. But what I love to see as well is the biggest issue we had under Emery. It wasn't the fact that we could score goals. It was the fact that we always used to concede on the other end. And somehow we're able to push 8 numbers up. But still, if we don't score from that opportunity, we don't give them a clean break. The biggest problem that I found under Emery and even slightly under Lundberg as well, that we were just so open. I mean, I remember watching the one game, I mean, that game when we beat Spurs as well. I just thought every single time that we attacked, it just seemed it was just a straight ball to the park, and they could just run straight at our back 4. And like now, even though we push
United exposed that quite well for us. Wherever they scored, wherever we scored, they would score. We'll score again. They would score like a minute later, and it's those as you said, those are those exposure rates that we were getting. You know, sorry. So to carry on to your point, yeah, you were saying.
No, but like you made a good point there. I mean, like under United, but you see, this has been a recurring theme. I mean, even under Sir Alex Ferguson, they used to play account. We know we would play football, but we'd go to Old Trafford, we'd lose because they'd knock us on the other end while we're trying to put numbers into the box. And I feel like it's been an issue for long now. It doesn't matter what. And I think like Arteta's finally found that balance between getting numbers forward, but keeping defensive shape so that it makes the team harder to break against us. We're in positions where we're pushing them so far back that even if they have to attack on us, we have numbers behind the ball. Yeah. So it's never like a long ball is like you have your back guys that are defending in good shape as well. So we're always in a position where we like if the guys are going to play a long ball, we're putting pressure on that ball. So it's never an easy ball straight behind and guys running straight against us. And I mean, it was so frustrating. I mean, remember that stupid goal? How many stupid goals have we watched against City? Watched against Chelsea. I remember the one Chelsea goal with Eden Hazard running through how many people? No one broke him. No one took him down. He ran through. He scored that goal. And I mean, he out-muscled. I remember Coughlin and everyone and goes to score. And I mean, like, be honest, when was the last time under Arteta that you've seen someone even do that?
We have even given penalty in that manner as well, huh? In the same manner. Running always from the back, tackling in from the back.
When we're losing with Arteta, we're not losing bad. You know, I think the worst was that 3-0 City defeated 3-1, 3-0. I think that was the worst one. But that was 10 men. One was a penalty. You know, we're not losing badly. And I think losing 1 or 2-0 is still prideful. You know, when you're catching 5-4, you know, and like, or you putting 3 in, but you're also conceding 2. You know, it's science. It warrants uncertainty and kind of, you know, you get a bit of worrying signs, especially if you have a leaky backline. And we always said it, a more experienced team or a more clinical team will expose Arsenal. But now today, we're not saying that. You know, it's weird, like in the style, because we plugged up those things. And I think Arteta's phase of working was plug up defense, sort out midfield. We know we can score. There wasn't a question if we could score or not, as you said, you know. I think we're now more clinical, but that phases through that is work. I think he really sorted out the back line very well. Like, to be fair, like, yeah.
If you look at our transfer, we were expecting probably a midfielder to be one of the bigger purchases. But if you look at it, Arteta's biggest purchase at the beginning was actually bringing in another defender. So probably like we all, and maybe the media actually also thought that probably Thomas Partey and so on. But it takes, you can see now when it comes to these contract agreements, it's not something that gets done over 1 or 2 days. There's a lot more parties that get involved, so it takes a lot more longer to actually get it. So definitely, most likely, Gabriel was actually was probably on the top of Arteta's list. I mean, because that's the one that actually went over the line. So definitely, I think Arteta has put a lot more emphasis on our defense. So, and you can see it. You can see it. We're not conceding much. I mean, nowadays when we have like a one goal lead, we can hold on to the 1 goal lead, which is something that we never used to have, because we know Arsenal's way, you have to score 2 or 3 goals minimum just to be in a chance to actually win. And so I do believe when it comes to Arteta, and defense is probably one of the biggest things that he has changed. And also just you look at the positioning of his defensive midfielders as well. You find out Granit doesn't actually push right up to the box. He actually collects the ball just after the big box. And if we're going into, when you bring in the 4 or 5 people, Granit's actually one of the people who are just shadowing or just doing in the positional coverage. Another one that I will actually bring in is that we need to understand that even that bringing in an attorney, Kieran Tierney, he has actually changed the way we even play our defense as well, because he is a very fast lad and a very, very strong defender as well. So it's not a question of just going up front, but you find out sometimes Arteta always brings the right guys of, if we break in 1 or 2 who has the pace of either Bellerin or Tierney, just to make sure that they're sitting just in front of the 1 or 2 defenders that are just holding up when we're attacking. So you find out there's a lot more coverage, because technically if we were losing battle, we used to find out that it was coming from Bellerin, because I think at one stage Bellerin was actually our weakest. We were losing a lot more goals coming through the left-hand side, the left-hand side for the opposition, and we used to concede quite a bit over there. So I think Arteta has probably done a brilliant job changing that. Definitely.
So
Can I add one last point there, Kish?
No, Karen.
Sorry, man. Just one last point. So, like, just I don't want to hop on our defense a lot more, but it's crazy for us to think. If you look at the list of the top teams that have the top clean sheets in the league, they almost in similar order in terms of where you finish in league position. Your Sheffield, highest clean sheets in the league. Your Wolves, look where they're finishing. Your teams like Liverpool, look where they're finishing as well, and City as well. Although they score a lot of goals, they keep a lot of clean sheets as well. So if you look at where your league position is, and we had a lot of changes, but I think if we can keep doing that well, we'll finish higher up in the league, just purely based on clean sheets. You can see less goals. You have like Mourinho, even in the documentary now that we're watching, he's like, you know what? If we go away, if we can't score, we just make sure we don't concede as well. And the other point that I just want to touch on is, like, just think about this. If you had to look at our back line, just think of the names and like what confidence you get by just saying the defenders' names. I mean, you mentioned Kieran Tierney, you know he's solid. We've put Ainsley in that wing back position. He's been solid. We look at Bellerin. He's been solid. Holding has been solid. Luis, I know he's been shaky at the beginning, but he's been very solid as well. I mean, and you're talking about the likes of Gabriel and Saliba as well. And the other thing that I want to touch on that is, I mean, do you know how you know if you have good defenders? Look at the teams that are getting linked with our defenders. Rob Holding getting linked to Newcastle. They're known for being, you know, the hard ball in defense as well. So they're getting linked with teams like that. If you look at Ainsley, which team was he linked with? Wolves. Very dogged. They're looking for that type of player.
Napoli.
Bellerin getting linked with PSG, with Barcelona as well. I mean, like, so when is the last time that Oaks have come for our defenders? like
Yeah.
big teams will come for our defenders. Honestly, we normally the Oaks to go to Wolves and Brighton and try and poach them. And I'm saying, like, if you look at even the guys
Yeah,
that we got in
there has to
Gabriel,
be
team,
something good in our defenders if O's are willing to pick
exactly.
them up. And holding, they were even willing to, like, I don't think they have money, but they want to put in a loan for like some, like, you know, they want to get it done. So yeah, it's actually a valid point, to be fair.
Crazy, bro. And I mean, like you look at Gabriel, look at like the teams that he was linked with, like Napoli, United. I think with a whole string of teams that wanted him. Napoli also very stern, like they know he's a talent, but he came to us. He wants to play under the manager as well. So again, when I think of Saliba is a top talent in France. We're trying to fill that position and get a good base to play off. Like I said, it would be nice to have Emmy there. I don't know who the new dodgy guy is, the backup keeper, but I still think Leno gives us a good platform to play off.
Yeah.
And I think going forward, the biggest problem that Arsenal always had is we had all these exciting players in the front, but at the back we used to have a Koscielny, Mertesacker, you know, the guys, Giroud. Remember
Giroud, yeah.
Giroud, that fridge. We used to have Kieran Gibbs. We used to have the most gallant, the suspect guys, like were always in the back, and even our keeper was always
defense was never our focus
about him as well.
Because we were such good attacking and our presence was so good. But the game's changed now, and I like the fact that Arteta's like, you know what, don't care about anything else. Let's sort out the main issue here. So I think you guys kind of like broke down. What I can see is we have versatility and we have combination play. So whether he plays William or Pepe, or whether he plays Saliba or Gabriel, you know, it just depends. We have that Elneny, Xhaka kind of. So it's quite exciting to see that, especially with the DM that he might bring in. So we have these kind of alternating combinations that can work across the game. Because the one thing I liked was William. People saw him as this type of player. For me, it just looked like he was playing a 10 first half. Then he moved into like a wing role, you know, and then but he still moved into the 10 kind of role, you know. And I like that drifting kind of play. So Arteta's like giving them a position, but it's like you got two positions technically, you know what I mean? And it's weird. I just figured that out as you see him. And it's quite, but now let's go to, I think this is my baffling thing. Okay, we got a minute, but I'll join us back in. But this is my baffling part, is always figuring out Arteta's lineups. He's a really complicated dude, I won't lie. He's a complicated dude. But let's work on terms of last week's lineup. We all weren't too sure about what he was going to feel. But in terms of that lineup, what would you change going into Westham? I was saying, Carl.
Yeah, so with me, I don't know why. I just have this feeling with Leicester around the corner. Maybe it's too early in the season to do like chopping and changing, but I feel that we might like look to do something like, even though if the team has had a week, it maybe wouldn't make sense, because then what, especially with Leicester and Liverpool back to back, it's like, where do you put your priority? Because obviously you want to be competing in all competitions, and what message would it send if you put like a whole bunch of lights in against Leicester in the Carabao Cup first round? You know what I mean? Is it like me only focusing on the league? Because obviously as a fan base, you want to obviously be doing well in all competitions. But I feel for me, Laka has to start. I think that's a name that goes down. We know Leno's not going to get changed. We know Chaka's not going to get changed, and we know Aubameyang's not going to get changed. So for me, the back line as well, I see Luis coming in, if I'm honest. Luis, just the experience about him, especially in a game against Westham. You know, they got a lot more physicality in that midfield as well. So I think it might be better for him to be like a more senior player in the back line, even though I feel it'd be unfair to Holding to miss out. I just feel with him being back, especially the fact that we signed him to a one-year deal, I think this is the game where we're going to be using him. I don't see any changes with Bellerin. I feel that there might be a change with, we might see Saka starting on the left-hand side for Ainsley. I feel just with Ainsley's game, it just might be with Leicester coming up, it might be we could be getting him in for that game, but I think we might see Saka, especially he didn't get a game last time. I think Saka might start on the left-hand side. Gabriel, I think Gabriel, Tierney, and Luis will be our guys in the middle. And then obviously Bellerin. I think Elneny as well. So this is the type of game that suits him as opposed to Ceballos. So I think the only change that I foresee is the Luis and Saka on the left-hand side for me.
To William, Aubameyang, Pepe. I mean, Lacazette, sorry.
Yeah. I think for me, honestly, I don't think we could change that right now. I mean, William's playing well, although I think Pepe can do a similar job. With the fact that we had a week's break, I think if it was like a midweek game, potentially we would have subbed him out. But I think he's had a long enough break so that maybe we start Pepe in that Leicester game. That's just my take. I think Pepe and Eddie might start in that game.
And Raoul, what would you change?
I think he's going to keep the back four. If there is going to be a change, the change might just go to David Luiz. I hope he actually does something different. I hope he changes the player, but I like to see Pepe playing on the right, but I would like to see William behind Lacazette and Uba playing on the left. That could be a good formation. I mean, because the truth is, William can play the number 10 role. We did, to a certain extent, we do actually, the previous games, we do lack creativity going through the center. And the nice thing is that if Guendouzi is getting a chance to play, Guendouzi is most likely going to partner behind William and Granit, or maybe even Sebs is going to be playing that box to box with Granit. So if I had to put money on a formation, most likely I will actually just to tweak it for Westham. I'll actually have Pepe and William start him. I mean, it'll be actually something nice to see, but the only reason why I feel it might not actually work is because Arteta likes to have something on the bench, something to quickly change the game, especially with that. And if you're going to exploit both options, then it's going to be another who's going to come on, because we forget about we still got Willock and Rios Nielsen, and most likely if there is going to be a slight surprise, it might even come from them. Might even play Rios Nielsen or Willock, but to be on the safe side, I'll go with Pepe. I think Pepe deserves to have a bit of a run now. And I think William might actually start also. Definitely. It'll be more of like, when you're setting your team up for FIFA, you just want the pace and creativity. So hopefully let's see what happens over there.
You put like the best starting 11, like everybody's there. But yeah, you know what? I think you never know. Arteta, I've never got a lineup right to them from the preview shows when I do it. Not one. Like one was way off, like it was totally off. So it's very hard to predict him, and what I like, he calculates for each game. So his team is match ready. It's not every match ready, it's for that match ready. So and one guy says he chose the perfect team, meaning every game he chooses the perfect team for the opponent. So I suppose we want to get to the part where we can just throw anyone on and we dominate, but I suppose we're not there yet. But onto some fun stuff now. What would your score line be? What's your predictor score there? Let's see. How are you guys feeling about our team here? Maybe Raoul.
I feel West Ham games are always high-scoring games. I've never seen. It's very seldomly that you just see like the 1-0s and so on. I mean, if we're gonna with our attacking force, definitely we have to have.
I think they beat us last season 1-0.
Yeah, but I mean, 100%. But I mean, that was don't even go there.
Terrible.
The that one was
sorry.
Keisha, why are you bringing up those bad memories, bro? Yo. I know, but definitely I do see us going probably with the 3. I would like to see us keep a clean sheet. So if it's 2-0, 3-0, but I want to see that clean sheet. I feel the clean sheet, we can score. It's not a problem. We can score against the best teams. But for our confidence, of where we need confidence is in a clean sheet. Definitely. And especially, I think at one stage, Leno was actually trying to save us from so many games. And when we were partnering up with Socrates and Mustafi, somehow they used to always mess up their clean sheets. Yeah. And, it plays a big thing with our defense, even with the strikers and so on. The thing is, sometimes the striker doesn't want to push too forward, knowing that if he loses the ball, we're going to get countered and it's another issue that's going to happen on our defense and so on. So definitely, I'm just hoping to see a clean sheet. I would like to have, personally, 3 goals, but realistically, it might be a 2-0 game because Arteta does like to finish the game after 2 goals. He likes to play them out of their game. So definitely, I see 2-0.
Okay.
Yeah, just from my side, I think So I'm sure you guys are aware, like West Ham right now, in a bit of turmoil. I mean, you got the captain of the team who's speaking out because there was this nice academy guy that was in the squad and they decided to sell him. So he spoke up about it. He's like, no, this was a stupid decision. He spoke out against that decision to kind of sell him.
Noble.
Noble spoke out. It has caused a bit of friction as well in the team. But I always think of West Ham. I mean, they got Fabianski there. If you look at their back line, they got that guy Issa Diop, very tall, physical centre back as well. And they even got the guy Fredericks as well, who's also pretty fast on the left-hand side. So he could definitely keep up with Aubameyang all day for sure. I remember it was last year when we got the goals. And I remember that was one of Pepe when he hit that curler because that Masiako made the mistake. But I feel they got a good defensive unit. I feel if we get a early goal, especially a quick few early goals, it actually could end up being a very big score from our side. Because of the state of everything that's going on behind the scenes in the club, and you find that a lot of that stuff tends to roll onto the field as well, stuff that's happening in the background. So for me, I feel we could see a very high scoring affair. Whether we concede or not, it could be a lottery depending on what our back four, or if we are going to the back four or back five. But I mean, their threats will always be from set pieces. They got that big guy Socek in the middle of their park. Like I said, they got Issa Diop, who they always send up for set pieces, and it depends who's taking Snodgrass, or if they also got what's his name on the left hand side, Anderson as well. So he's also hit and miss as well. When he's on it, he's almost unplayable. And they're also having a lot of, I mean, Antonio is also a very physical boy as well. So set pieces for me seems like the most likely avenue. I don't see them like breaking on us too much. I think we have enough speed, enough quality as well to deal with them. But I see a high scoring affair. I'd go with like three plus goals if I'm honest. Whether we concede or not, like I said, it just depends on our shape and if we are focused on getting that clean sheet. Hopefully, Arteta will push that through. But I think we could be looking at like a 4, maybe a 5-0, to be honest.
Sure. Okay. Damn, Kyle started with some optimism. Now he's like, yeah, my team is gonna do it. Yeah, 5, 4, 5. Hey, we can do it. I think if Arteta keeps that clinicalness, every time they shoot and we score, it could end up being a high-scoring game. And we're at home. I think the feel-good factor of being at home, I think it's become more of a better place for us to play as opposed to in the past. But before we end it off now, we kind of chatted about the match, about all variations. The one thing I did want to touch on was what I liked about Arteta was those goals that Aubameyang curled in. And you were talking about the overlap runs of the players. And I think people forget what that does in a game. Those overlapping runs causes defense shape to change. You know what I mean? Allowing your strikers or allowing your person with the ball to free up the space. So you're essentially getting pulled off by men that don't have the ball, and it's something that's very clever, like Lacazette was doing it for a dominant time towards the end of the season, just pulling players off the ball, allowing Aubameyang and Pepe to get into more space, less people on them. So it looks like it's quite an effective tactic from, I don't know, am I reading it right? I'm not too sure. I could be.
No, you're right.
But yeah, it looks like he has this combination. It's a long ball from Tierney, as you guys would say, playing out the back. We now eventually we can play down the center with Xhaka switching the ball. I think the versatility is I can't believe where we are now with the same players thinking about the different combinations of ways of scoring, and he's showing us that it can work, and one worked twice. So
I think one thing about Arteta, he loves his switching play. You find out, you put the pressure on the right flank, and once the defense actually gets soaked into that pressure, you switch the ball, and you find out that's where Aubameyang is actually probably, that role suits Aubameyang because that's where the goals are coming from. I mean, if we had to start beginning of the year and we had to say our best striker is actually playing on the wing, he's not going to get those goals that we expect from him. But if you're just looking at the tactics and showing how the switching of flanks is actually more efficient with our style of play, Uber's banging the goals. Uber definitely is going to be another contesting for the goal of the season. Goal scorer of the season again. Definitely, I can see it happening because apart from him being actually very, very clinical of recent, the way the tactics are playing with the switching of play, especially look when William's first game, how many times did William actually switch the ball to Uber? You can see it's one of the set tactics in Uber's formation, definitely.
When I add anything,
just to add on that. So I know you spoke a lot about the combination play, but what I think Arteta does, I don't know if you guys probably picked up on it as well. So our defensive formation is usually 5 at the back or 3 at the back with 3 centre backs and the wing backs tucking in. But our attacking formation changes to a 4-3-3, and that's obviously you would love to defend that formation, but I just don't think we have the right players to kind of play in that all the time right now. So what he tends to do, and that's why he likes Ainsley. Ainsley loves to play in the midfield, as we know. Ainsley kind of pushes up into the midfield, and that pushes Tierney to the wing. So we kind of have those 3 midfielders to kind of move the ball. And what that does as well too is when we're on certain sides, you'll notice Aubameyang. What happens with Lacazette, he drops deeper. So with Lacazette dropping deeper, the centre backs have to follow him. So Oberg runs into those gaps and William runs into those gaps. That's how that space is created. So with Lacazette dropping and being the hold-up player, you'll see Lacazette will get knocked, but he's knocking it off to the winger, which we're putting into space for someone to run in behind. It's just because, like I said, Lacazette's pulling that centre-back out of position. It's creating that hole because now you've got 2 centre-backs in the line. One's higher, there's a gap in behind, and that's when Ober or William makes those runs into the back, depending on which centre-back comes with him. So it's very, I feel, yeah, sorry?
Have you seen how Lacazette doesn't even look where he's going to pass the ball now? That they so trained. Exactly with the same what I was talking about. You get the ball. He doesn't even look. He just passes it, spreads it to the wing where Pepe will be. So 100% I do agree with Carl there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all, but remember, it's all drilled in down from the manager. But I feel we've got so much different ways of attacking. I mean, so let's just say our first build-up is obviously we want to build up from our keeper. That's our one way. Our second way is if they're high-pressing us, balls in behind. Our third way is maybe put it into a striker to lay it off, then we're building a counter-attack. And the other way is when we actually have dominant possession, we're beating their press, and we're knocking around the edges. You'll see we've got such good combination plays, and we're always looking for that cutback and good crosses. I mean, Arsenal, historically, we have been horrible in crosses. We will always decide to try walk the ball in the goal. You know that we're looking for combinations to play it all the way into the goal. Now we got Tierney, Bellerin fizzing them in. We got Willian fizzing them in. So there's so much different options of different types of attack that we have. And like we've become a crossing team now, but we can also work it inside. We can also, I mean, look at the neat, intricate play that we have sometimes the edge of the box between Laka, and you'll see Laka would lay it off and Tobias on the go, and he's looking to link up play, lay it off, send it wide, get the crosses in. So I just feel we got such variations to our play that teams, it's very hard to kind of, I mean, us and Wenger was like, we stopped him from playing, we win the game. That was our tactic against us all the time. And teams that do that, we either that or they sit back and they hit us on the counter attack. Those are the 2 ways to play against Arsenal. Everyone knew if you wanted to result against Arsenal, sit back, wait till the 80th minute, score a goal, and the game was done, you'd win it. They would never come back because we always try to try intricate play and fill it there. I think with Arteta, there's just so much ways that we can attack a team and hurt a team with all the quality that we have in the attacking side of things that I don't know how would a manager actually prepare for us. Like, honestly, what they're going to be like, okay, let's not high press them. If they don't high press us, we'll work towards the box and we'll play combinations around the outside, get crosses in. If they want to high press us, they know we can put balls in behind. We have the quality as well to find the guys in behind. That was our biggest problem before. We didn't used to have the quality centre backs to find the passes in behind. Now we do. We have the combination to actually have the confidence to play out the back now. I mean, I remember last season under Emery, we were so shaky. Everyone was like, no, kick it long, kick it long, kick it long. Now, I mean, I don't know about you, but I feel a lot more secure. I like the fact that now he's bringing the midfielders in to actually move the ball quicker to the wings as well. Before under Emery, it's just he liked the centre backs to move it wide and for them to try pass the ball into midfield as opposed to the keeper actually laying it off. It's a bit risky, but high risk, high reward. I mean, you've beaten so many presses, scored so many goals against City, against like so many teams. Even like we mentioned the goal against Fulham last week. It's a quality team, you know.
Yeah, I think you guys are 100% right. As we wrap up here. Sorry, guys. It's I think we broke it down here. We know what's coming tomorrow. You know, we broke it down enough to figure out every combination that's coming down tomorrow. Arteta will let us know. But yeah, thanks, guys. You know, much appreciated. Really looking forward to the game. But yeah, we'll catch you after the game. As you know, it's our Durban Gooners, Raoul and Carl. It's Goonercast SA match day preview show. We're up against Westham. London is always going to be red, so you know. We out.
Ciao, gents.